Okay, guys. Last video I did was on mystical builds, and I kind of wanted to show you two iterations of what a decent mystical build that I'm looking at can look like, um, especially with the rune marker and the chaos marker. Yeah, the chaos marker and the rune marker. Yeah. Scarlet Witch is obviously the Witch of Chaos, so hers is called the Chaos Marker, and Agatha Harkness is a rune witch, I guess, and drops a rune marker. But they're both incredibly important, especially in today's game, with Apocalypse and Genesis coming out. What did I click on? With Apocalypse and Genesis coming out, you're going to want to be able to have some way to get around stop clicks and power cosmic. Otherwise, your team is going to hurt anytime you face one of them. They're only 40 points, but they can do a lot of damage, and they're without even hitting. They don't have to hit to deal damage. They just deal damage by you attacking them. So, it is incredibly important to have something like these two on your team, whether it's Chase Beast, Leech, something of that nature. This team on the right-hand side is kind of my high dollar team. I have all these pieces except for the grand prize Apocalypse. I'm hoping to win him from our slop event here in Springfield, but worst case scenario, uh, I can trade for him. He's I don't want to say he's a must play on Mystical, but he answers a lot of the problems that Mystical has. He's a cheap leadership and he does damage. And I went over this in my last video. If you want to go back and watch it, great. If not, it was my first video, so I'm not very I'm not very proud of the outcome of it, but I also knew that if I didn't put it out, I wouldn't put out any videos. So it was one of those, let's just shove it out there and see what happens. I'm super glad I'm doing this. I love the fact that I'm able to bring content to the community. Recently got put in a new position where I have a lot of free time, so I really want to use that to help everybody in the Heroclix community because they have helped me so much. Um, and that's probably something I should have gone over in my first video, but either way, I digress. Yada yada yada. Let's go over these two teams. So this team on the right, like I said, is a high dollar team. I'm using Wonder Woman and Jumpa to uh, count as Death Metal Wonder Woman because Death Metal Wonder Woman doesn't have an image for Roll20 as of yet. That might change here in the next couple days. But we did get these slop event images, so I am using those for this video. I wasn't able to use them for the last one. I was about a day early on that, but that's okay. You can still see what I was going for, and we're going to go over it again here. So I'm using Wonder Woman and Jumpa to count as Death Metal Wonder Woman. She basically just saves one of the pieces on your team when they do die. So say Apocalypse goes out there, dies somehow, and then I can say no he doesn't, and put him on left click and heal him. Very good piece, if you don't have her yet, she looks freaking amazing. That alone should make you want to play her. It does for me. Anyways, but she also does a lot of cool stuff. Saturnine, the slop Saturnine is insanely good. It's basically a +1 to attack and defense for your entire team. Not the entire turn, but whenever you need it. So let's say Scarlet Witch is out there and Agatha's out there. Agatha needs a 6 to hit her. She rolls a 6. Saturnine can say, oh, nope, that's -1. And then it becomes a 5. So they miss, they have to waste team PCs, what have you. Very solid. I almost want to say she's a must play on Mystical, but not quite. I really like her though. Mad Jim does Mad Jim things. Switch kind of went over her Chaos Marker a little bit more, and then Felix does Felix things. Scarlet Witch for um, TK and carry, and then Apocalypse for extra damage, and because he's Apocalypse. So that's this team, and we're going to go over it first. So generally, what you want to do with this team, and as you can see, I've been messing around a little bit. you want to swap Scarlet Witch to the Angler. And we saw Saul do this in the championship round of Worlds, where he used Venom Magneto on an unthemed team to TK her out, switch her to Angler, TK her again, and then angle up 18 squares. And it was incredibly effective, especially against the 3 APOC team that Jason Alvey was running. He was able to kill one of them second turn, and then the other one got down really low. Also helped by the fact that he rolled a critical hit with his Jubilee. So, you know, a little bit of luck goes into winning Heroclix, and that's okay. That's what dice games are all about. But we did see this mechanic with Saul, and we're going to use it a little bit here. So I have my objects placed out like this. They don't need to be placed out like this on this map, but just to kind of go over like how you would place your objects on any other map that doesn't have this much blocking. So we would TK out Scarlet Witch 6 with Saturnine to this object. Okay, well, yeah. I'm adjacent to an object on the wall, and I can place myself within 6 in line of fire of another wall or object. So I'm going to place her up to here for free. Now I'm already there. I can drop the rune here and make it so that if they get anywhere out of their starting area, they can't use any powers. That's really good, right? And then from there, I just move up, make sure I stay out of her rune, get Felix up there a little bit, he would be carried, and then free pop, and then Mad Jim to here, and then we would carry her, maybe Saturnine over to here, something like that. Something like that, so I have my follow-up ready, go free barrier here and here, and then perplex upper defense with Mad Jim. Something like that. But that would be my first turn. There's probably a way to get Scarlet Witch up those extra 2 squares. I've been playing around a little bit, but honestly, it's not that important to me. I lied. It's pretty important to me, but I'm not too focused on meta right now. There's so much going on in the game today that well, I mean, we just got done doing Worlds and this and that, and we're doing the slop events now, and those are super competitive, at least at my venues, because everybody wants that stupid apocalypse. So I've been focusing a lot on the slop and trying to understand the pieces for when I pull them and have to play them. That I haven't really focused on 300 Modern and trying to find a way to get Scarlet Witch that extra 2 squares. Like I said, is super important, but at the moment, not so much for me. And it's something I'll get to play with over the next couple months, and who knows? Avengers Forever is dropping, so Avengers might be the play with Scarlet Witch. I did play that at Worlds, and it did a lot better than I thought it would. I went 4-2 with an Avengers swap, and I didn't think that it was even going to be that possible. But Avengers is very good right now. But let's continue going over Mystical. So this team on the left is kind of your bargain team. You'll see I have Diablo on here, the rare from Future Foundations. This is a piece that nobody plays, but it does work well with Agatha because he has a free smoke cloud. So we'll go over how that will work. I have the common Magik here. Do not have the sword on her. I just put her on there for a carry and an extra perplex, and then Saturnine, and then this Magik we're also going to go over a little bit more in depth, and then Felix, of course, because he's the must play. So with this team, what I would do is Agatha can free pop in hindering. So I would use a free smoke cloud from Diablo to go here, here, here. Now, keep in mind, I want Agatha to get within 2 squares of Magik's stepping disc marker. So, we would TK Magik out to here, because now I can free pop Agatha to there. And then we move her out 10 to square 18, placing a stepping disc marker, and I'm just going to mark that with a barrier. to there, right there, and then we would sidestep her there, and it would place a stepping disc marker here. Now you see how broken this is? Because now all I have to do is I can free move, or I don't even want to free move him. Let's just move Felix to there. Boom. And now he can free pop over here. I can outwit something. It doesn't really matter. And then just pop back to here with his free thing. And then I would free pop her to there and use my last action to drop the rune. Now his entire front line is in the rune. Felix is outside of her 3, but his entire force is within Felix's 8. Yeah, entire force within Felix's 8. So if he tries to perplex up with Magik, I get to roll. If he tries to do some funky outwitting with Felix, I get to roll. Yeah, and I can even perplex up Agatha's defense by 2 with Magik and herself to make it a 21 defense with super senses. So he's got to hit a lot to hit me. He's got to roll really high. Apocalypse only has a 10 attack. Scarlet Witch has an 11. I mean, it doesn't matter what you go up against. This right here is going to be super good. I mean, he can't use any powers up here. So, yeah, Magik, I don't know what they're thinking when they made her. Probably just thinking we had to find some way to make it really good Magik because she's a huge favorite of a lot of people in the community. So they're trying to find some way to make her really good, maybe even a little bit competitive. But I don't think they take previous sets into consideration. So when someone puts the cloak on her from Disney Plus, they don't think, oh hey, maybe giving her sidestep could make her broken because man. But that would be the general idea of both teams, and that's kind of what you want to go for with Mystics. I said in the last video, mystical keyword, it kind of just messes with your opponent. It doesn't do a lot damage wise. Obviously Agatha can hit like a truck, but usually you have to pay a lot of points for the heavy hitters of mystical, and it's not really worth it. Apocalypse changes that, and Scarlet Witch can still hit pretty hard, but I mean, it's only 3 damage. When you get right down to it, 3 damage isn't a lot for most keywords, but mystical, it is. There is also a lot of enhancement in mystical, and there's a lot of outwit, and you can get PC out the wazoo in mystical. It's just, it messes with your opponent. It doesn't really kill your opponent, it just messes with them, and I freaking love that about mystical. It's why it's one of my favorite keywords, and I hope you guys can find a way to enjoy this too. I know it's super annoying to play against, but it is super fun to play. So I hope you guys can find some fun with it and maybe build your own little teams with the mystical keyword, because there is a lot here, and these obviously probably aren't the best 2 teams. Alrighty guys, have a great one. Talk to you later.